Thursday, October 15th, 2020, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Today we're going to look at silver, not the silver price versus other fiat currencies, which I think has great potential, of course, especially when you hear the IMF come out and say that we should keep inflating with more and more debt. They came out yesterday. They're saying that it's not a problem. We don't need austerity. But I've been thinking for the last month or so, because I came onto a website recently called silveragecoins.com. A few months ago, I was going through some of the stuff I had under the stairs, and I had a box of old silver coins. From the time I ran the pawn shop in Bromley for a couple of years, I bought coins from customers, silver coins. I paid them scrap. Didn't think much about them, but I had a look through them a few months ago during lockdown, because I was doing a bit of spring cleaning, and I found some very interesting silver coins, and then I started looking at them to see their content, and so I found this website, silveragecoins.com, and I highly recommend this website. Of course, I've spoken about before the fact that in many languages the word for money is silver, like in French, argent. That means silver, but also money. In Spanish, plata means silver, and it also means money. In English, sterling, silver, is the name of the currency of the UK, but it's also, of course, silver. And even the word dollar comes from the silver thaler, which was a coin minted by a nobleman in Bohemia. I'm not sure exactly when, about 500 years ago. It evolved into the Spanish dollar. It became one of the most popular coins in the world. Silver and gold have been used as coins for about 2,600 years, according to Wikipedia. It says here the earliest coins in the world were minted in the kingdom of Lydia in Asia Minor around 600 BC. The coins of Lydia were made of electrum, which is a natural occurring alloy of gold and silver, and that was available within the territory of Lydia. So yeah, I've done a little bit of research. Many of you know, of course, in the US, for example, we had 90% silver coinage until 1964. But you'd be surprised to know that in some countries, the silver stayed in the coinage up until the mid-70s. And we're going to go through that today. Yes, and I know all the talk today is about cashless society, digital currencies, the fact that the coinage has been in shortage in the US. The Federal Reserve is not providing coins, but I'm not the home of alternative economics and contrarian views for nothing. I actually think there's a good chance that we could see silver come back. Is it going to be right away? No, I think it might take quite a few more years to come back as money, as I think people will realize that it will be the only way forward. And looking through silveragecoins.com, you can see that the countries that stopped using silver, for example, back in the 30s or even a little before or just after World War II, economically they didn't do as well as the countries that kept silver in their coinage until the 60s, or in the case of Germany until 1974. And why is that? Well, I think it's because silver is the money of the masses, and if you earn a sound money, your standard of living will remain more stable and won't go down as much as it will under a fiat currency system where they can inflate it away. The other thing I would say, eventually, wherever the price of silver goes, that will indicate how much they've been inflating for the last 50 or 60 years. ever since silver really disappeared from circulation. And the main reason it did that, of course, is because they inflated the money supply with paper, and eventually the price of silver rose above face value of coins. So those coins went out of circulation, and then we started seeing the authorities mint copper nickel coins, which are really no comparison to silver, of course. So I want to go through some of the countries and look at up until when there was some kind of silver in the coinage. And it doesn't have to be 90% or 925 as long as they had silver. So I found here that Germany, the German Federal Republic, 5 silver marks. Well, they were in circulation until 1974. 5 silver marks was 0.625 silver. Of course, they didn't have as much silver, for example, as the pre-65 US coinage, but still they had silver, and that was until 1974. So let's go and look at Switzerland. The Swiss franc. Up until 1967, the Swiss franc had a content of 0.835 and 0.16 ounces of silver. So there you go, 1967. Let's look at Sweden. The krona, Swedish krona, as you can see here, up until 1971, the 5 krona in Sweden had 0.58 ounces of silver. Of course, the composition there was only 0.4, but still they had silver until 1971 in Sweden. And I would say many of you who are watching who are over 60 probably held and dealt in silver coins, especially our parents and grandparents. Of course, it depends on the country. So let's keep going. We're at Venezuela now. So even Venezuela, for example, up until 1965, 2 bolivars, as you can see here, or bolivares, had almost a third of an ounce of silver. It was 835 silver. So 1965, Venezuela. I mean, I've read things about the Venezuelan economy, that it was one of the richest countries in the world in the 50s and 60s. Of course, there's no silver left in the bolivar, as we all know about the hyperinflation. A country that I'm fairly interested in, Brazil. You can see that the silver stayed in the coinage until 1935. 2,000 reais there had a quarter of an ounce of silver. So ever since 1935, no more silver in the coinage in Brazil. Portugal, another interesting country here. Up until 1960, Portugal had silver in their coinage. You've got the 10 escudos had 0.4 of an ounce of silver. The content for the silver was 0.8, 12.5 grams. I'm sure many of you who watch my videos from Canada will be interested in this one. Well, Canada had silver in its coinage until 1967, and the Canadian dollar had 3/4 of an ounce of silver, and the silver content was 0.8. Australia. Yeah, Australia up until 1963, as we see here. Australia had the imperial coinage, like in England, the shilling had 0.18 of an ounce in silver. The content, of course, had gone down from 925, I think it was after 1946. It went down to 50% silver, the silver content. Now we move to Italy, which is a country that's been renowned for inflation. And it's not surprising then that after 1941, there is no more silver in the coinage in Italy. Up until 1941, 20 lira was almost 2/3 of an ounce of silver. Silver content was 0.8, but that was it. United States, of course, silver content, the quarter had zero point 0.2 of an ounce of silver until 1964. The Japanese yen, as you can see here, up until 1966, silver content was 0.6 and 100 yen was 0.15 of an ounce. That's 100 yen. New Zealand. New Zealand, for some reason, went off silver completely, like the UK back in 1946. That was the last year that the coinage had silver content, as you can see here. Netherlands, another interesting country. Netherlands, up until 1967, the guilder or the gulden had 0.21 of an ounce in silver. The silver content was 0.72, 6.5 grams, the gulden or the guilder. And now to Mexico, the peso had silver content up until 1967, but you can see that it was only 0.1, 10% silver content. It had been inflated away, but it still had 0.51 of an ounce. But if you go back, for example, to 1910, the peso had 0.9 silver content. It was worth a lot more in terms of silver ounceage. It was 0.87. Another interesting country here, Iran, silver content in their coins up until 1951. The 2 reals had 0.1 of an ounce of silver. Silver content 0.6. China. So they call it the yuan or dollar. Up until 1934, 1 yuan was 0.86 of an ounce. The silver content was 0.88. So even China, but that was up until 1934, until the troubles in China, of course. So now to Cuba. So Cuba had silver in their coinage up until 1953. 1 peso had 90% silver and 0.86 of an ounce in silver. India, up until 1945, the rupee had 50% silver content, and the rupee was just over a third of an ounce of silver. In the UK, we had 925 silver up until 1919, up until 1 year after the war, First World War. After that, from 1920 to 1946, it was 50% silver. And since 1947, there's no more silver in the UK coinage. And before I go and look at the markets, I just wanted to show you some coins that I found, of course, earlier this year I was telling you about. Notice they are all very similar in size and they all have silver in it. This one here is from New Guinea. That's a shilling. It has a hole in it. This one here is the Swiss franc from 1952. So that's got silver. We've got 25 cents from Canada, which is also 925 silver. This is from 1872, I think. We've got the shilling from the UK from 1900. That was 925 silver. Sorry, I'm dropping the coins. We've got the quarter from the US. That's from 1964 for 90% silver. And we've got the guilder, 1 guilder or golden. And that's from, let's see, the year 1966. So still had silver. And if you put them together, they're all pretty much the same size. So you can see that money was the same everywhere. Or silver coins. It was just the names and the measures, I would say. As you can see, silver's been used very recently all over the world. And if you do the maths and you take Germany until 1974, it's only been about 1.78% of the time since the Lydians that we haven't used silver. So this is an exception, I would say. Will silver be able to fight off digital currencies and cashless society? Maybe not in the short to medium term, but I think eventually, maybe in a decade, maybe a little longer, it could make a comeback. I'm certain that the price will make a comeback much earlier than the metal itself makes a comeback as money and currency. So there you go. I think it's a possibility. I'm not saying it's for certain, but I think people are going to start looking back at these things because many people that are still alive today have experienced silver as money. So now to the markets. It's 10 past 9 a.m. London. We've got spot gold at 1900.76, so we're down about $1. The range has been 1906 to 1891. Silver is down about 10 cents or 1/3% at 24.16. Range has been 23.96 to 24.35. The Dow future is down 0.5% or 136 points at 28,381. S&P future is down 0.2% at 34.67. The Nasdaq 100 future is down 1.2% or 150 points. In terms of the currencies, fiat currencies, of course, sterling is down 0.1%, right at 130. The euro is down 0.1% at 117.27. The dollar is unchanged versus the yen at 105.20. The price of oil, WTI, is down 0.75%, just below 41. And to finish off, the 10-year yield is continuing to move lower. We're now almost back down to 0.7. We're at 0.71. So there you go. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Please share it far and wide. Think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't yet. Make sure you also hit the little notification bell below to be notified of all my new videos. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and all these other platforms below here. I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.